So yeah, did Georgia have any choice but to fight back, basically?
Well, Georgia had to fight back, and unfortunately, we had no way, no other way, absolutely no other way, because I have read many sources, Western sources, and in some of them, you see the sad reflection of Russian propaganda, where it says that after Georgian militants conquered Ossetia, Russia went in. Uh, it's same as saying that United States conquered or invaded Michigan. It's nonsense. South Ossetia is part of Georgia and has always been, and will always be Georgia. And we, like any other nation and like any person in the world, have right to defend ourselves. Even if the enemy is much more numerous and strong, we will defend ourselves because every nation that survived to these modern centuries and to these modern days has been fighting. But unfortunately, because of our neighbors and because of our geopolitical situation, we are passing through the stage which Europe passed probably a couple of hundred years ago.
Um, as you said, regarding perception in the West, there is this idea that Saakashvili started this war by going in on August 7th prematurely or disproportionately, and and that's what kicked this whole thing off. I wondered what you had to say to that.
Well, I think Saakashvili is certainly much more mature politician than I am because I myself am not a politician at all, and he would never do that. Not because he's an angel. We are all living people, but because of his country's interests. He wouldn't do this to his own people if there was not an absolute need for this. He had to defend country. If you look at it another way, if he didn't respond, if he took no action, what would people say? That enemy came, they invaded us, we had army, and nothing happened? We had to defend ourselves. And of course, we shouldn't neglect the Caspian Basin oil and gas transportation factors as well, because all this represents threat to Russia, not because it is a real threat. It wouldn't be a threat for the United States, for Germany, or from Ethiopia, for example. But
it's not Russia, oil to worry those people. But
Russia is trying to be an exclusive supplier of oil to manipulate Europe. And there is this small country which is in their way to this, which stands in their way. And of course they don't want to see that. And you have to take into an account that they for the last few centuries after they invaded Caucasus, they take it for granted for their troops to be here. They think it's their land. They think it belongs to them. Georgia without Georgians. They want the land, they don't want the people. But it's the 21st century, and thanks to God, they can't do everything they want. They can't do what they did. They can't treat Georgians like they treat Chechens, because Chechnya belongs to Russia. It's a Russian territory. It is in the margins of RF, Russian Federation. Only God knows what happened there.
So what's the situation done to ordinary Georgians, people like yourself? Is it sort of radicalized people, do you think? Or do most people throw up their hands and don't know what to do? Or what is it for the average person?
Well, I think that there is a great difference between a nation which is 140 million and a nation which is 4 million. I mean, Georgian 4 million nationalism and 140 million Russia's chauvinism are completely different things. Because our nationalism is aiming towards unification and just quiet and peaceful living within our own borders, not like Russia. That's a mentality problem. And it's a great thing that people didn't just say, okay, well, what can we do? This big country is coming. Because I remember when the war started, young guys were standing in lines to go to war. But I think government was wise enough not to let it happen, because there were lines, thousands of people, young people mostly, were asking government to let them go and fight, even though they knew that the enemy had the kind of equipment, the kind of army, the missiles that we didn't have. It wasn't just difference in numbers, it was difference in arms. We didn't have air superiority fighters or surface-to-air missiles or anything like that.